guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my birth story video, and then also I'm going to do some Q&A questions at the bottom, or not at the bottom. I'm going to do some Q&A questions at the end after I get done talking, or I may do the questions first. Actually, we'll do that. We'll do questions first. So this video, so many people have asked me about if I was going to do one. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do one. So I finally have time to just sit down and do one. And I'm actually dressed and have makeup on today. Nash is laying right beside me in his Taco-Tot. He is snoozing. So, oh, he's waking up. Y'all may hear him. Hey. If he wakes up before this video is over, I will show him to y'all. But yeah, if you want to see my birth story and my experience, 100% honesty from the good, the bad, everything in between, then just keep watching. So we're going to start off with the questions. The first question, did you have a smooth, easy birth, any complications? My birth and labor delivery experience was amazing. It was so amazing. It was so smooth to the point where I didn't feel any pain. The most painful thing I felt was getting my IV. I got that maybe like 10 minutes after I was there. Well, probably longer than that, probably about 30 minutes. And that was the worst pain I felt. It was so smooth. It was wonderful. It was so wonderful. Any complications? I had 0 complications. The only thing, and I wouldn't say this is necessarily a complication, but when I had first got to the hospital, they checked him on the ultrasound, and he was head down, and he was facing, like, his face was my back, like facing my back, like they're supposed to. And at some point during, it was either before I started pushing, or I guess maybe while I was pushing, at some point he flipped. So he was still head up, but he was face up, so like sunny side up. And that caused, I believe this is what one of the reasons was, it took forever for me to actually have him. And I got there, like I said, I was induced. If you didn't know, I'll link my birth vlog up here so y'all can watch that if you want to see that. But I was induced. I walked in on a Sunday night, May 3rd at 6 p.m. and I had him at 6 a.m. Monday morning. So 12 hours exactly from the moment I walked in the hospital doors to when he was born. And 2 hours of that was me pushing. So I pushed for 2 hours, and my nurse warned me of that. She said, you know, especially with it's your first baby, some people push up to 2 hours. And I was like, oh God, please don't let that be me. It was me. But I didn't feel any pain the entire time I was, prior to pushing, I didn't feel any pain. The entire time I was pushing, no pain at all. So it wasn't like a dreadful, like, I cannot take this 2 hours. It was just, I'm tired. Like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, I haven't slept, and I've been pushing for 2 hours. Like, I'm just like, I need a nap. And I'm pretty sure I told my nurse, I was like, I'm just tired of pushing. Like, whew, I need a little nap. But aside from the 2 hours, she said that like every time I would like push, he would come down and then he would like go back up. So for probably the first hour and a half, that's what was happening. And come to find out, like when the doctor had walked in, when it was time for him to come in, that's when like they realized, I think that's when they realized that he had flipped. So every time I pushed, his nose kept getting hung, and it was causing him not to be able to like come all the way down. So he kept getting stuck pretty much. And my doctor had to use the vacuum to kind of like help suction him out a little bit. And in my head, I was thinking, oh my God, it's like something, you know, huge, ginormous, like the freakiest thing ever. No, it was like this big. I wouldn't even known they were doing it if they wouldn't have told me. And because I remember he's like, hey, we're gonna get, I don't think it's called like the vacuum, I think it's called something else. But he's like, all right, we're gonna get that so we can get this baby out. And I was like, no. And I didn't want him to do it because I was like, he's gonna have a colon head. That's what's gonna happen. And I had like talked to my nurse like prior to this, like, man, I hope they don't have to section him out. And she was like, majority of the babies get sucked out. And I was like, oh no. Because I was like, he's gonna have a colon head. But my doctor walked in. It was 2 hours. So it was at this point, I'd been pushing for 2 hours. It was 6 a.m. My doctor walked in at 6 a.m. and he's like, all right, we're gonna suction him out and we're gonna help him get out. And he was like, all right, I want you to push. And I said, push. I pushed, he suctioned, and he popped right out. He just boop, popped right out. It was like, I was like, could you not did this 2 hours ago? I mean, like, ooh, that was so fast. I pushed it one time and then he was out. And he did have a colon head, I will say that. I remember when he came out and they held him up to me, I was like, oh my gosh, he's got a colon head. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. And honestly, they held him up, showed him to me, and then they took him to like get cleaned off and weighed. And by the time they brought him back to me, it like already went way down. So if you're like me and you think, God, I don't want my baby to have this huge colon head. Really, I mean, I guess it depends on how many times they have to suction and like if they're like for real stuck or not. But his wasn't bad at all. The only thing, it did leave like a bruise like on the side of his head right here. And he still got a little bit of like, I guess like a scab kind of from where they suctioned him out. That's almost gone, so they will have that. But it wasn't painful. I mean, you didn't feel anything. And I wished, like I said earlier, that he could have came in long before that. Like an hour and a half before when he did, if he could have. And just bloop, suctioned him right out. But that was the only complication, was him turning face up. So he wasn't wanting to come out, and then his nose was getting stuck. But that was that. And then the next question is, what exactly do contractions feel like? Girl, I don't know. I don't know. I did have like Braxton Hicks contractions pretty regularly right before, like 2-3 weeks before I had him. And some of those I had were painful to the point where I was like, I'm for sure getting an epidural, 100%. But as far as like in labor contractions goes, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I wish I could give you some insight on how to like kind of prepare yourself and prep yourself, but I didn't feel any pain because kind of the way my doctor does stuff, kind of like his method. If you choose to get an epidural, you get the epidural as soon as you get to the hospital. So after they gave me my IV, they drew blood, gave me my IV, that's when the anesthesiologist came in and gave me my epidural. And from that point on, I didn't feel any pain, nothing. It was like, I feel good the whole time. That's exactly what it was like. I feel so great. So I'm sorry. If you plan on to get an epidural though, I do recommend asking for it when you first get there. So you don't feel any pain. As far as like the process goes though of being induced, of how my doctor did it anyways, I got my epidural and then they started Pitocin. You know, they checked me ever so often. My doctor came in, he broke my water, and then once it was ready for me to push, I pushed with my nurse, and then right before he was born, the doctor came in. So that's kind of the steps. I know a lot of doctors use like Cervidil to kind of help you dilate and stuff on your own. My doctor didn't do that. They just did the Pitocin, broke my water, and like I was dilating really fast. My doctor had said when he came in to check me that it was like after I got my epidural, before he wrote my water, so some point in there that I was 4 centimeters, and he said that more than likely I would have had him on my own sometime soon, just at the rate that I was dilating. But yeah, it was bam, 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 and he was here. It was a very quick experience, even though I was there for 12 hours before he was born. It felt like 2 seconds. I kid y'all not. It was just like bam, he's here. Let's see, the next question. Did I poop? I kid you not, I was terrified of this. Like, terrified. To the point where I asked my nurse, I was like, so what's the chances of me pooping? Because this is like, ugh, freaks me out. And she was like, a lot of people do it, some don't. She's like, it really just depends. But she was like, I mean, if you do, don't worry about it. Like, we're not gonna make it known or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, please, please, I don't want to poop. Pushing this baby out like I'm supposed to push a baby out, not poop. And I was like so paranoid about it that I didn't eat like anything all day prior to going to the hospital. And I knew once I got there I wasn't gonna be able to eat either. But I was like, I refuse. I was like, I refuse to poop on this table. If I can help myself, I'm not gonna do it. And thank the Lord, I did not poop. And I asked too, is how I know that. Otherwise I wouldn't know. But I did ask because I was like, I want to know. Just tell me. But I was like, whew, thank you, God. Because I was more worried about that than anything. Like weeks leading up to that, I was like, oh my God, just like the thought, that is humiliating to me. But I didn't, so all good. The epidural pain, what did that feel like? So getting the epidural was one of the things I really psyched myself out about. My nurse, right when she got there, she asked if I wanted to get an epidural. I said yes. And then she said, okay, so we're going to have the anesthesiologist come in shortly and he will give you that. When she said shortly, y'all, he walked in, I kid you not, 5 minutes after that. And I was like, I'm not prepared. Like, I'm not mentally prepared for this. I didn't know you meant right now. And he was like laughing, and like she was laughing because I was like, y'all, my heart rate is really like a sky high right now. This is terrifying. I'm so nervous. But y'all, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. My anesthesiologist was really, really nice. He like walked me through the whole process. My nurse stood with me the whole time. Casey did step out of the room for that part, but it wasn't bad at all. He, you know, told me exactly what was going to happen right when he was doing it. And the initial like little, I guess, needle, people say feels like a bee sting. It didn't even feel like that to me, honestly. It was like a little pinch. And then they like put whatever in my back. That I did kind of jerk a little bit when he was doing it, not because it was painful, but because it like I could feel it going in, and it was like an uncomfortable, like weird feeling for like a second, and then it went away. So honestly, it was like 2 minutes worth of, I don't even want to say pain, just like pinch, slightly uncomfortable pressure, and then it's done. And they did have me lay on my back for like 30 minutes to make sure the epidural was like spreading evenly, and that was that. I don't know if all hospitals are like this, but in my hospital I did have like a little thing I could punch, so anytime if I started feeling, he said, any kind of pain, just press it and it'll give you like, I guess, another dose of epidural whatever and you'll be good to go. So that's what I did. I think I pressed it maybe twice because I was starting to feel like a little pain, like not really pain, more like a cramp on my sides. And my nurse would have me like lay on one side to have the epidural kind of, you know, balance itself out. But it was so worth it. It was 100% worth it to feel the little sting for a second and then literally no pain the rest of my labor and delivery. So highly recommend it if you are somebody that gives birth naturally. High five, because I couldn't do it. there's no way. So I'm so thankful for that epidural. I will also add my blood pressure after getting my epidural. My blood pressure did drop just a little bit, not a whole lot. So they gave me some medicine for that, and it did make me slightly nauseous, which is a side effect from getting the epidural. But she just gave me some Zofran, and then I was good. Like, I didn't feel nauseous at all anymore after that. So that was a little tip. If you feel nauseous, tell them, and they'll ask you if you feel nauseous to let them know so they can give you something. Did I tear? Girl, yes I did. I didn't know it, obviously, because I had my epidural and I couldn't feel anything. But because he flipped, that increases your chances of tearing more. So I had a lovely 3rd-degree tear, and I remember my doctor, like, after I'd had him, he was stitching me up, and he was telling me, he was like, yeah, she's got a 3rd-degree tear, and I was like, what? I was like, oh my god. I was like, that's gonna be fun. And so I did have to get stitches, and he's, you know, stitched me up or whatever. And, you know, I obviously didn't feel any of that because I still had epidural, and I didn't feel any pain, but I did get a 3rd-degree tear, and I mean, that sucked. I was kind of hoping not to tear at all. That was kind of my hopes, but I knew, like, if it's your first time having a baby, your chances are higher tearing. And I think it's just like kind of in general, like, a lot of people tear, but it is what it is. So that kind of sucks for sure. I mean, now it doesn't matter, but it, like, hearing him say that, I was like, oh man, I was like, I did what? I was like, that's gonna suck. But so yes, the answer is yes. And then what was afterbirth like? So, like, after I had him, you gotta, like, people say, like, deliver the placenta. You don't actually have to, like, push it out or anything like that. Like, mine just, like, whoop, popped out, and I saw it, and it was huge, and I was like, ew, god, gross. But yeah, it just, like, came right out, and that was that. So that was kind of like, if that's what you're asking as far as afterbirth, you don't have to, like, push the placenta out or anything. Now, as far as postpartum goes, that's one thing that I wish I would have, like, did a little bit of more research on, because as soon as you have the baby, they pull that epidural right out. They weren't slow on that at all, that's for sure. Like, I had him, and with, like, as soon as I was stitched up and good to go, they rolled me over and pulled the epidural right out of my back. So you don't have, like, pain medicine going on after a while. So by the time that I got to my, like, the mom and baby room, a little bit after that, that's when, like, I could start feeling the pain. It wasn't horrendous or anything like that, and I can do, like, an in-depth detailed, like, video if y'all want to see that. Just, like, comment below that you want to see, like, a postpartum, like, in-depth detail, like, what to expect, because that's more videos of what, like, I wish I would have watched, just to, like, kind of know, you know, like, what to expect. But they gave me pain medicines, like, it was Lortab, I believe, every 8 hours while I was there, which was a lifesaver. So that part kind of threw me for a loop, and that's when, like, the pain started. Obviously, because I didn't have an epidural, I felt all of that, but it doesn't last forever, so that's a plus. The question I have is, rate your experience, like, my birth experience, and a 10 out of 10. My entire pregnancy was so wonderful. I loved every moment of being pregnant, and, like, I already miss it, which is so crazy. And then my entire labor and delivery was so smooth and just like the perfect experience that I could have like ever dreamed of. It was just so relaxed, such a calm environment, and it was perfect. Majority of that has to do with because I didn't feel any pain, so it was wonderful. I would literally give birth over and over again if every time was gonna be like that. And I have to give so much credit to my labor and delivery nurse because she was so amazing, hands down the best nurse. She was just so wonderful, and I hope when we have baby number 2 that I get her again because she was that good. And then my OB is the best doctor in the entire world. I will never have anybody else deliver my babies, so he can't retire until I'm done having kids. That's for sure. I would literally like trust him with my life. He's so good. And so I had the best team ever and the best experience at the hospital. So it was so wonderful. And actually, no, I was gonna show y'all Nash. He's laying right beside me in the docket top before I close this video out, but he's like in the middle of like waking up and going back to sleep. You want to say hey? No, he's like, I don't. But yeah, so that's my labor and delivery experience. It was so wonderful. It could not have went any better at all, and I'm so thankful for just an amazing experience and such an amazing hospital and doctors and nurses. It was great. So I hope you guys enjoyed my birth story and kind of getting a little detailed insight of what it was like for me personally. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye guys.